In the dark, icy waters of the North Atlantic, a legend was born from tragedy. Today, we're not talking about the Titanic, but a ship whose story is just as harrowing, yet often overshadowed, the SS Arctic. Picture this. It's the 1850s, the golden age of steamships. Transatlantic travel is booming, and the Collins Line, an American company, is the star of the show. Their ships are faster, more luxurious, seen as the pinnacle of maritime engineering, easily beating their British rivals, the Cunard Line. The SS Arctic was the pride of this fleet. A magnificent wooden-hulled paddle steamer, she was the queen of the ocean, known for her speed and opulence. Her passengers were the era's elite, businessmen, dignitaries, and wealthy families. She was considered so safe, so reliable, that she didn't even carry a full complement of lifeboats for everyone on board. After all, what could possibly go wrong on such an unsinkable marvel? This misplaced confidence would soon prove to be a fatal mistake. On September 27, 1854, the Arctic was on a routine voyage from Liverpool to New York. The journey had been smooth, but as she neared the coast of Newfoundland, a thick, disorienting fog rolled in, blanketing the ocean in a ghostly white shroud. Visibility dropped to almost zero. The ship's captain, James Luce, a seasoned and respected mariner, ordered the foghorn to be sounded regularly and a lookout to be posted. But in these dense conditions, even the best precautions could fail. Suddenly, a cry from the lookout pierced the air. A dark shape loomed out of the fog. It was the Vesta, a much smaller French iron-hulled steamship. Before either captain could react, it was too late. The Vesta, with its sharp iron bow, sliced into the Arctic's wooden hull just below the waterline. The sound was a horrifying crunch of splintering timber and screeching metal. Initially, the crew of the Arctic believed their ship, being so much larger, had sustained only minor damage. Their concern was for the smaller Vesta, which appeared to be sinking. Captain Luce even ordered a boat to be lowered to assist the French vessel, but a horrifying discovery was soon made. The Vesta, despite its mangled bow, was kept afloat by its watertight bulkheads. The Arctic, however, was in mortal danger. The iron prow of the Vesta had torn 3 gaping holes in the Arctic's wooden hull. Seawater began pouring into the ship at an alarming rate. The crew desperately tried to plug the holes with mattresses and canvas, but the ocean's pressure was too great. The water surged in, extinguishing the boiler fires and leaving the mighty steamship powerless, drifting helplessly in the cold sea. As the reality of the situation dawned, panic began to set in. The ship had over 400 people on board, including about 60 crew members. But there were only 6 lifeboats, with a capacity for just 180 people. Not even half of those on board could be saved. What followed was a complete breakdown of order and discipline. Instead of the maritime tradition of women and children first, a horrifying scene of every man for himself unfolded. Some of the crew and male passengers, consumed by a desperate survival instinct, seized control of the lifeboats. They fought off others with axes and sheer force, launching the boats with barely any women or children in them. Captain Luce tried to restore order, firing his pistol into the air, but the chaos was uncontrollable. He watched in horror as his own crew abandoned their posts and the passengers they were sworn to protect. In one of the most heart-wrenching accounts, a man named Stuart Holland, a brave engineer, stayed at his post until the very last moment, trying to keep the engines running. He refused to abandon his duty, even as the water rose around him. He went down with the ship, a true hero in a story marked by cowardice. Captain Luce, realizing all was lost, gathered his young, disabled son in his arms and climbed to the top of the paddle box, preparing to meet his fate. As the Arctic finally succumbed to the waves, the deck tilted violently, throwing everyone into the frigid water. The ship sank in just 4 hours, taking hundreds of souls with it. Captain Luce was miraculously saved. After clinging to a piece of wreckage for 2 days, along with a few other survivors, he was rescued by a passing ship, but his son was gone. Of the more than 150 women and children who had been on board, every single one perished. Not one woman, not one child, survived. The only survivors were mostly crew members and male passengers who had fought their way onto the lifeboats. The news of the disaster sent shockwaves across the world. The public, who had once celebrated the Collins line, now reacted with outrage and grief. The cowardice of the crew and the tragic loss of all the women and children became a source of immense national shame. The phrase "women and children first" wasn't a formal maritime law at the time, but the Arctic disaster was a major catalyst in cementing it as a fundamental code of conduct at sea. The story of the SS Arctic is a sobering reminder of human nature in the face of disaster. It's a tale of technological pride brought low, of courage and cowardice, and of a tragedy so profound that it changed maritime culture forever. It serves as a haunting lesson that no ship is truly unsinkable, and that in the darkest of moments, the true character of humanity is revealed. Thank you for watching, and if you found this story compelling, please consider subscribing for more tales from history. We'll see you in the next video.